What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from Weihenstephaner, and they are out of Bavaria, Germany, and this is their Helles. So this is a German Helles lager that comes in at 4.8% alcohol by volume, 16 IBUs, and at the time of review, I don't know exactly how old this can is, but it does have a best by date of August 25th of 2022, and we're about 10 days away from that date, so we're coming in just under the gun, but according to the brewery, we should be fine. Now, when I picked this one up, I thought this was their original, which is also a Helles lager, but it turns out, no, this is actually a relatively new beer, first introduced in 2020. They are calling this a more mild and quaffable Helles lager, and when I picked this one up, I had no idea it was a new beer, so yeah, we're trying it out. Now, this compared to the original is 4.8%, the original is 5.1, and this is also 16 IBUs, while the original is 21. So a little bit of a lighter drinker is what they're going for, and we will see. So, again, not super fresh, coming in just under the best by date, but I think we should be fine. So anyway, let's give it a pour here. So I really like Helles lagers. I've talked about this numerous times, but if we're going to drink any kind of low ABV lager or beer in general, I'm going to go for a Helles. I just love the bready kind of notes to the malt bill. I just love the complexity to the malt bill with that breadiness, and this is a beautiful looking beer. That is a beer, if you give me a Helles lager, yes, that's what it should look like. Crystal clear, that golden yellow kind of straw color, about a finger and a half to, we'll say 2 fingers of a bright white, fluffy looking head. And that's a beautiful looking beer. Not much more to say about the appearance. Good nose. Yeah, that's why I like Helles lagers. That, just the malt character, that breadiness, like almost like a toasted white bread into like a slightly darker bread, like a little bit of like a brown bread, more like a toasted white bread. A little bit of a crackery malt sensation. And then there's this nice floral, slightly earthy, almost spicy-esque noble hop character. More floral than anything. The beer just has a bright smell to it. A little bit of that sulfur lager thing. Not too much, though. Maybe a slight lemon kind of tinge to it. But this is all about that bready malt character and the noble hops. Like, it's just beautiful marriage. This smells like a perfect summer crusher. And it's making my mouth water, so let's get into it. Prost. So first things first. Now, I've had the original numerous times. It's been a while since I've had that one. But off the first sip, this is definitely a little bit lighter, a little less rich. Not that the original, being a Helles, is all that rich, but I guess I'm just talking about the malt sensation and the breadiness. While it's here, I think it's a little bit less as far as the complexity goes, and just the intensity of that character. Let's go body and mouthfeel. Body, this one's like medium body. For 4.8%, impressive. Definitely not watery. The mouthfeel is what you expect from a Helles lager. Super crisp on the palate. Has that effervescent kind of feel to it, spritzy, but not overly done. This is not too carbonated. It's appropriately carbonated, I would say. The taste, first thing hits me at the front of the palate. There's a little fruitiness in there, like a slight, like red apple core, very slight. But for the most part, it's that breadiness, and it's more of like a almost toasted white bread, more just a white bread. There's a nice crackery kind of a malt sensation as well. So a little bit of a red apple core, bready, crackery, middle of the palate, the noble hops hit. And this has more of a floral, earthy kind of sensation on the palate. Finishes mildly bitter with a nice semi-dry kind of finish. Not too sweet, not too dry, not too bitter. Very well balanced. I guess for me, I'll tell you right now, this is a really good Helles. Like, you kind of expect it from Weihenstephaner. They know what they are doing, right? Like, right on the label of this can. The world's oldest brewery, brewed in Bavaria, Germany since 1040. Like, that's crazy to me. Almost 1,000 years. Crazy. But the reality about this beer for me is that in my mind, I have to compare it to the original. There's definite similarities between the two, but I think they kind of nailed what they were going for with this beer. When they're saying it's a more mild quaffable beer, it's definitely lighter in all aspects. I think it's lighter. It feels a little bit lighter on the palate, even though I said it's medium bodied. It might be a little bit under medium body, but it's lighter on the palate from a flavor standpoint, from a body standpoint. It's a much more sessionable Helles, even though that beer is quite sessionable as is. It's really good. It's not amazing. I feel like the original usually is like in the 4.25 range for me, so I can't go as high as that beer because I like that beer better. But here's the thing, I haven't reviewed that beer, so I'll pick up a bottle when I see it and give it a review maybe next month or something. But this is pretty good. Let me go one more sip and then we'll lock in the score. Yeah, as I continue to drink on it, I think it's becoming more cohesive and on the palate and kind of like fitting together, the malt and the hops and everything. All right, so Weihenstephan Helles, their newest beer. I think it's their newest beer. I have no problems giving this beer a solid high 4 out of 5. We'll go 4.1 out of 5. I think that's fair, based on what I remember the original being. And again, I'm comparing it because this just is like a more, as they said, mild and quaffable, more sessionable Helles, a little bit lower ABV, a little less IBUs. And I feel like I can taste that, but I haven't had that beer recently, the original that is, so we'll have to revisit that and actually review it. Anyway, price and availability on this one, I paid $2.50 for that can. I think 4 packs for $10. So yeah, that's a fucking great deal for something that's imported. And then availability, I have no idea, but I'd assume if you get Weihenstephaner in your area, you probably should see this. Like I said, they introduced this one in 2020. I think it was like the middle, like May or June of 2020. So we're talking about 2 years on the shelf. And yeah, if you've had this one before, post in the comment section and let me know what you think about it. Like I said, 4.1 out of 5, really good Helles. It's just, I think the original is a little bit better for me. But when I review that one, hopefully soon, we'll see. This is going to be hopefully fresh in my mind and we'll kind of do a comparison just in my brain. I should have actually bought the original, did a side-by-side. I think it would have been fun. So maybe I'll do that in that review. Maybe I'll re-review this one and compare it, or maybe just a quick comparison. We'll see. I don't know. Anyway, if you had this before, post in the comment section. Appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. Yeah, 4.8%. Sure. I mean, nowadays, I always say like under 7%. I really can't taste the alcohol and something like this. You know it's a beer, but like it's not astringent. You don't feel it in the chest the whole night. So anyway, appreciate it. To the next one. Prost.